Alright guys and girls, it's been a long time, but here to discuss the aftermath of Ruiz Joshua 2, where it leaves fighters, guys on the undercard, one or two of the other fights that were, this weekend's hypothetical other matchups. I won't make this video too long, take too much of your time. As I always say, if you want to listen, feel free. If not, you can fuck off, and you know where the the little X mark is for the browser, or the tab. So feel free to get the fuck off the video if you don't want to listen. But yes, been a while. I'll address everything towards the end of the video. But let's crack on and talk the boxing. Obviously, Ruiz Joshua 2 in Saudi Arabia, Diriyah. So, obviously the main event wasn't the best fight. Let's say that. We'll kind of start from the back end of the card, and we'll go towards the main event. First, I'd like to say Chris Eubank Jr. won a interim WBA middleweight title against Matt Korobov. Korobov done his shoulder in the second round. Looked like he was doing very well actually from the first round. Obviously, you can only tell with what you can see. You can only go by what's given to you. He done very well in the first round. Obviously, couldn't build on that, which is unfortunate. I'd love to see a rematch to see how that fight pans out. I always gave Korobov a very live chance in that fight. Very skilled. Done very well. Probably unlucky to not get a decision against Jamel Charlo, the WBC middleweight champion. I know they're having this franchise thing, but Eubank's there or thereabouts. He's not a top level fighter for me. He's a very good fighter. Can he compete with the guys like Canelo and Golovkin and those sort of guys? I find it very tough. I can't invest my time into Chris Eubank Jr. Solid enough fighter, exciting enough to watch against punch bags most of the time. No disrespect in that regard, but against the top level fighters, he's always going to struggle. And there's a lot of people out there still saying Billy Joe would lose in the rematch to Eubank. I can't see that. I know Billy Joe sort of fucks around and whatnot, but in terms of just pure skill, if he's completely on it and he's taking it seriously, I think he's going to beat Chris Eubank Jr. He'll just box rings around him. So yeah, if you're wondering also what the squeak is, it's a bed. I've actually just relocated rooms. I'm in the house very briefly. Most days, so it's just as quick as I could get the video out for you guys. I try to do so accordingly, so apologies if you hear that squeaking or any other background noise. Tom Little for the name always sort of evades me, but Olympic bronze medalist from Russia, if I'm correct. 1 and 2 rounds, Tom Little. We always hear about Tom Little, especially, British heavyweight scene, English heavyweight scene. So, he's a solid enough fighter, but he's not going to be sort of comparing to these top level amateurs who are coming in. So, who I can't remember his name, is Magomed something. So, apologies, forgotten that, but he moves on. He'll continue on, and same with Filip Hrgović, who destroyed Eric Molina in a couple of rounds. Absolutely done him. Fair enough, looked solid enough. Molina came in good shape as well. Wasn't just there for. It didn't look like he was there just for the payday, but he was talking a good game. Couldn't back it up. Hrgović moves on. He's calling out Dylan White, Derek Chisora for a fight in the UK. So I guess we'll see if that's going to come to anything. I can't be certain, but we'll see. He's obviously with Matchroom, so we'll kind of take it from there. Not 100% sure what's going to go on with him though. He's got fights out there, I guess. He looks a bit of a beast. Reminds me a bit of Artur Beterbiev at 175. I'm not sure why. Brute power, I think. I think he probably has a hell of a lot of knockout power. His skills look good, but obviously restricted at a certain level as of current. So, he's definitely one to watch in the heavyweight division, and he could be a contender, within the next 18 months. 2 years. No rush, but at the same time, I do assume that Matchroom will push him. So I'd say 18 months is probably next up in regards to a world title shot. Obviously, we had Dylan White fighting after the UCAD situation. I haven't been talking about that because I haven't really wanted to discuss that. I still kind of don't want to discuss it because there's a lot of beers and bullshit that's gone on around it. So he's obviously come back. He looked fairly poor against Marius Vac. He's saying obviously he didn't know about the fight until two and a bit weeks beforehand. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think they were just going to chuck him on anyway, and he probably ended up. He was going to end up winning. Probably better they threw him in with Marius Vac. I know he didn't look good, but it gets him some rounds after this whole debacle. People have been saying it's like almost like a year or so. It hasn't. It's only been about 6 months or so. I went to the Dylan White versus Oscar Rivas fight, and it's just I think people are making that a lot bigger in terms of the inactivity period. Obviously, you want to be fighting as a fighter, earning your dough, and that sort of stuff. Completely understandable. However, people are making it out like he's been banned, like how Ryan Martin got banned for some of the PEDs he took against in reference to the Josh Taylor fight in the World Boxing Super Series, the first round. So I mean, obviously. Again, it's all hypothetical. People can say X, Y, and Z about Dylan White. Whatever's done is done now. People are on a hell of a lot worse. Obviously, as I said, I'm not going to comment any further, but it's good to see Dylan White back in the heavyweight scene. Whether or not he can give the top guys problems, I'm not 100% sure. It's very difficult to tell. But obviously, he's come in 20 pounds heavy, maybe 30 pounds heavy. I still think he can lose a lot of weight. He looked good against Rivas. At times, he just got knocked down, but he didn't look terrible in that fight. He looked fairly solid for a decent-ish operator in Rivas, but want to see obviously how he's going to fare up against the big boys. What's happening with the WBC world title shot? That's a bit of a farce in itself. WBC are absolutely corrupt as fuck. Doing this franchise bullshit. I don't really want to know. People who are obviously, I think Naoya Inoue was given the WBC belt. He kind of pushed it away or something like that. So, obviously, I don't know if that was in reference to his brother losing on the undercard, but you never know. As I said, it's just, sanctioning bodies, I think, are trying to take matters into their own hands, and they're talking fucking shit most of the time, not giving fighters who are supposed to be given the credit, after working their way up the rankings. You're not giving them an opportunity. It's all bullshit. It's all bollocks. Like I can't have any faith in a sanctioning body, or any sanctioning bodies should that be the case. Michael Hunter versus Alexander Povetkin, fight of the night. Cracking fight. Going back and forth, throwing power punch after power punch. I really like Michael Hunter. I was watching it with a couple of my close mates, and we were obviously watching a fight. Then obviously, I wouldn't say there was hardcores. Some of the guys out there, but they definitely, one or two of them definitely watch their boxing. We sit down hours on end and study boxing. They've been telling me, make videos. So shout out to the guys, and we're getting there. We're gonna get the channel back up and running. Fingers crossed. It's been a bit of a tough period last couple of months, so we're trying to get back on it. But yeah, Michael Hunter versus Alexander Povetkin. They were Michael Hunter made him a fan. I think he was he was boxing, he was moving, he would get involved in a tussle. I do think sometimes he would get involved in a tussle too much, and he would kind of negate the skills. I do still think he can lose a little bit of weight. He does look a bit flabby from the edges. And I do think he can lose a bit of weight, and he'd be a hell of a lot sharper, probably a bit quicker, and get his punches off, swifter as well. So, I that's what I think about Michael Hunter. He's a very good fighter. He's in and around the top 15, but you know, we really need to see him come in sharp as a tick and take it to Povetkin, because Povetkin was there, definitely. You know, I think they both hurt each other. They were both going hell for leather. But, you know, that's not the same Povetkin that was, you know, the Povetkin that fought, I don't know, Carlos Takam and those sort of guys, you know, really icing guys. I know he was on some... But Povetkin, I've never really been a fan, to be honest, after his kind of debacle with the meldonium and that sort of stuff. And he kind of always looked like he was juicing. Obviously, we can't... It's all circumstantial. Can't really say anything again, but without hard proof. But he was definitely on the meldonium and threw away the chance he had at Deontay Wilder. So it's almost like he's been blacklisted by the WBC, because he, you know, he's not going to get a mandatory shot after that. After Wilder, you know, saying he'd go to Russia as well. Obviously, he's a champion, but he's gone, and you know, Povetkin really screwed that opportunity up for himself, to be honest, and he has no one else to blame. So don't really have any sympathy for him. Was rooting for Hunter. I thought Hunter did just edge it by a round or so, 7-5. But obviously, like, it was close. You know, he's given the judges kind of an opportunity, because Povetkin's trudged forward, throwing big haymakers. So, you know, Povetkin, they'll both come again. I'd love to see a rematch. Where does Povetkin go? I'm not sure. It was for the WBA heavyweight title eliminator. I don't know if it was for the regular title or Joshua's title. I'm not sure. You know, with Joshua, obviously, he's already beaten Povetkin. Hunter could be another good opponent. Again, I'd like to see Hunter lose a little bit more weight, kind of, you know, come really, really sharp to the fight. I'd love to see him how he was in shape for the Usyk fight. I'm not saying 200 pounds, obviously, at cruiserweight, but, you know, coming very light, use your attributes. He can box, he can move, he can punch a little bit as well, of course he can. So, especially at heavyweight as well, you know, most punches count, especially if they're going to land. So, I'd like to see him a bit sharper, a bit fitter. But yeah, definitely, I'd love a rematch. That was a very, very entertaining fight, and I'm glad I got to, you know, sit down just before the fight started and watch that. That was a cracker. It was you know, it was worth me sitting down and actually paying attention to that, because it was one of the better fights I've seen recently as well. In addition to sort of the Josh Taylor Prograis fight, and you know, a lot of other fights I've seen live and on telly. So, Ruiz Joshua, I know everyone's sort of going to discuss that, wants me to go through that a little bit. So, I mean, look, the moral of the fight was Ruiz coming well overweight, not training seriously, partying, eating, the usual fucking spiel and shit. But, you know, in this one, it was so prevalent that it made such a big difference. I mean, I saw him at the weigh-in. You know, I'll be honest, I didn't think the weight would cause him that much an issue, just because of his natural size. But it obviously made a massive difference. 20 pounds heavier than the first fight. Joshua boxed well. I'm not going to take anything away from Joshua. I'm going to give him the credit where the credit is due. He definitely deserves a lot of credit. He boxed very well. But you got to consider as well that Ruiz was just completely out of shape. It wasn't half the same fighter that he would have been in the first fight anyway. People are obviously comparing this Joshua to the first Joshua in the first Ruiz fight. Sorry, whether that, you know, this Joshua would have beat that Ruiz, we don't know. Obviously, it's whenever it happened in June. Ruiz won, the better man won on the night, and as a lot of people say, Eddie Hearn, you know, all the memes will say, Eddie, you know, bracket, he got humiliated at Madison Square Garden, Hearn. So, you know, there's a lot of that, and it is a bit of a laugh, but you know, it's difficult to tell, because Ruiz was very good that night, and Joshua just wasn't himself. But obviously got concussed, and that obviously didn't help. But you know, he wasn't the same fighter. They both weren't the same fighter. They were different fighters, obviously, from the first fight. So, you know, you got to give Joshua the credit where credit is due. Ruiz was just really, really poor, and I felt like his game plan was poor. He wasn't. He was trying to just trudge forward. He wasn't trying to cut off the ring at the very least. He wasn't trying to, you know, double jab and let his hands go. He was just content with single shots, maybe trying to load up at times and using his face like a battering ram. And I was just a bit like, well, you're not really going to benefit anything. Manny Robles in the corner, I don't know what he was telling him. They didn't really put a corner cam on, but I don't know what he was saying to him. He must have told him change his tactics. It was abysmal to watch. Like Joshua just, dance around a ring, quite neatly, only because Ruiz is so sloppy, and it was just really, really it was bloody goddamn awful to fucking watch that. Honestly, it was fucking shit watching that performance. It was so laboured from Ruiz, and it just felt he could have given a lot more and given a hell of a lot better account of himself. So he has no one to blame but himself. He should be kicking himself that he's lost the belts that way. I did see something that Andy Ruiz Sr. Was saying he wanted Junior to pull out the fight. The thing is, he was making so much money, contractually obligated to do the rematch, so he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. But Andy Ruiz Jr. has no one to blame but himself. Whether or not he could come up the rankings, that's another story. We got to wait and see, and take it one step at a time. There's a lot of guys out there. In regards to what Joshua does now, he's obviously got potentially Pulev. He's leading the race as far as I'm aware, from what I read on Sky Sports today. You never can trust that, but it looks like Pulev may be obligated. I know the IBF have tried to call for that. So Pulev and then Usyk's the mandatory. I know Team Usyk and Matchroom probably don't want Usyk to stay idle because they do want to get him the world title shot as soon as possible, which he's been mentioning, and he'll be the mandatory with the WBO. I'd assume he'd probably fight either Chisora or Parker next. One of those two guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone else, but those guys are two probably likely candidates just because Chisora's been mentioned and Parker's in the WBO rankings as well. Usyk wants to stay active, so I assume he'd want to be fighting someone live, not someone who's just an absolute punching bag. Who cab driver you can beat up. So that would be my take from that. Whether or not it would happen in the UK or in America, I'm not sure. I know he doesn't have the biggest sway in America, not as big as Vasily Lomachenko. In the UK, they're both adored. I know he'll have a bit more of a pull in the UK, especially with the Bellew fight as well. So he's obviously known to the UK market. So we'll see with Usyk, the good times ahead. He's not. It doesn't look like he's going to stay inactive or anything like that. So we just got to wait and see what Matchroom are looking to do with all these fighters, because they have a lot of these fighters on their books as well. So obviously a lot of the fighters, Dylan White, Hrgovic, Joshua, so many, so many. Derek Chisora, Usyk, Parker, David Price. They're all so many options there. Hearn could probably stick them in with half of each other and just make it go around that way. Make them fight for a mandatory spot. So they obviously work with other guys. They obviously work with other guys. So it just depends on who's available and what the timings for the fights and that sort of stuff. So who fits best for the resume at that time. So we'll definitely see where that goes. Where does Joshua fit in with the top three? Obviously back in the top three. Him, Wilder, Fury. I personally think Fury beats them both. Wilder beats Joshua. That's my kind of take. It's hard. It is hard. I know a lot of people, because they offer a lot of they have a lot of different attributes. For me, I did a consensus poll, and I got about 80% of people voting for Deontay Wilder to knock out Anthony Joshua. I'd say it wasn't obviously the biggest sort of margins, probably like 10, 15 people, but 10, 15 people, most of them know their boxing. So it is, they watch boxing with myself and they can see different elements and different parts of each fighter's game. And they've gone Wilder. I have always been under the impression that Joshua will lose to Wilder. I just even in this fight, he did leave himself open with the right hand down sometimes a bit too low, and I just think Wilder. People give him this bad rep, and don't get me wrong, he isn't the cleanest cut fighter, and he's very awkward and makes mistakes and that sort of stuff. But honestly, that freight train right hand, fuck me. I do not want to get hit with that. Like, no siree. That is absolute dynamite in his fists, and you know, like some of the guys I've been getting ice with that, just fucking hell, it's lethal. And if he's gonna knock down Fury, Fury can dance around a bit better than Joshua for me. You know, he's definitely going to catch Joshua at some point, and it's going to be a real testament to see how Joshua reacts, because that right hand, I'm telling you, Luis Ortiz coasting through the whole fight in the second fight as well. End of the seventh, I think it was, boom, finished him off. Game over, 7 or 8, but he absolutely iced him, and Luis Ortiz had no clue where he was. Just one hand, no backlift, no nothing, boom, right on the button, finished. You know, it was such a big come down. Obviously, Luis Ortiz, is winning the fight. He's doing well, and just get starched. Just get starched. So, you know, again, it's what fights are available for each guy. Joshua looks like it's going to be a bit tied up. Fury and Wilder look like they're fighting. I'd like to see him push back a bit more just because of the cut. So hopefully he can heal a bit more. Wilder, he didn't have a bruising fight against Luis Ortiz, but obviously he was coming off of losing a couple of rounds, and maybe he just wants to tweak some stuff. I'd like to see him maybe in April, but if they're going to do it February, fair play. That's obviously going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen with the other fights? You know, Dylan White. Who's Usyk going to fight if he doesn't fight Joshua next? There's a lot of other fighters in the mix, and a lot of potential names that could fight each other. So let's see where the heavyweight division's going. It's not sort of ultra strong, but it's not terribly weak either. So it's just you know, there's guys in and around the top 10, top 15, and they're solid enough fighters. But can they be the top 3, 4? Very difficult to say. So we'll just you know, we'll always keep an eye on the heavyweight division. It's always exciting. You know, big guys are slugging it out. So let's take away from that Joshua's back. Where, you know, he's back in the top 3. Can he beat the other 2? That remains to be seen. You know, I'll let you guys sort of make your mind up. Comment in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I've just been away. You know, I've been away. Had a lot of stuff going on. Been a really tough time. You know, I've got a car on finance, and it's just messed up. And there's been a lot of movement on that front, and it's just been a bit of a headache dealing with that over the last, I'd say, couple of months. Other than that, it's been a fairly good year. You know, coming up to December, we're going to have to review some of the fighters of the year, trainers of the year. So we're going to do that on the channel. We will get it done. It's coming up towards Christmas, so bring out some special Christmas videos for you guys. Again, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, give me a shout. We can try and set something up. I'm looking to. I've got a couple of collaborations. You know what? Shout out Boxing Talk with Ade. He's an absolute legend. So hopefully he fucking sees this video, because he's a gem. Like, watching his video is really informative. Really good content. He's one of probably 2 YouTubers, bar IFL, and IFL I don't even watch as much, just because of the recycled questions and fucking content. I can't complain, because you get the news from it for boxing sometimes. So it is good, but it does fucking annoy the hell out of me sometimes. But yeah, Boxing Talk with Ade, obviously Ultratech Sports, he's fucking quality. These guys, you know, hopefully I could do a collaboration with one of these guys. You know, I'll hit up Boxing Talk with Ade. Hopefully we can do something. Congrats for him on his new Sky role. And yeah, it's just I want to do some different things on the channel. I know he's going to be covering football. I'm looking to cover some football, obviously, playing semi-professionally. It's always busy every day, you know, training and that sort of stuff. So we'd like to incorporate that on the channel in some way, shape or form. Just do a couple of different things, open the avenue a bit more. But there's a lot coming, honestly. There is a lot of content coming, a lot of different content coming. So, you know, stay tuned with me. We'll be bringing out something different for you guys, seeing what you guys think. please make sure you follow me on the social media outlets. Let's push this. Always do request this, but if we can, it's better. A big please would be just extended to you guys. If you can do it, it'd be a massive help. We push a channel. We're doing it for one of my good friends, pushing his new single. It's available on all streaming platforms. Check out my Instagram for that. And we've been pushing it, and we've been getting a lot of views, a lot of traction, and really, quality song. So if we can do that with the content, hopefully you guys enjoy the content, and we can really push it and work towards something. There's a lot more that's coming for 2020. Believe me when I tell you that. And I'll release a lot more information in due course. I just need to get my eggs in a row, and just get everything in the basket, kind of, and head towards a checkout. So there's a lot of things coming. Bear with me, you guys. If you stay tuned, you will find out. I want to just shout out all the guys and girls. Everyone who supported this channel, continues to support this channel, continues to support myself. It does not go unnoticed. I assure you, it does not go amiss. I really respect it, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, stay tuned. As I said, I'm going to hit up some people for collaborations. I've got some of them coming soon. Lot more content coming soon. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on all the social media outlets down below in the description. And yeah, speak to you guys soon. Take care. Have a great evening.